Welcome, everybody. Is that better? Okay. I just wanted to say thank you, Lila, and I know I've got to give credit to Ike. If you've lived with someone for over 42 years who spent 25 years in law enforcement, then he's got the street cred, probably, not me. But welcome, everyone. I'd like to recognize our mayor, Mayor Duggan, Council President Jones, and udmercy President Dr. Garibaldi for being here with us today. About a year ago, at Ike's retirement party, Councilwoman Jones, Council President Jones, said that she was going to proceed with a resolution to name a street after Ike. And what an honor. What an honor not only for Ike, but for the whole family. And so I want to personally thank her and everyone in the city that had anything to do with this, including the Public Works Department, who's worked with me during the past couple weeks for the ceremonial cloth, helped by my neighbor, Laverne Etheridge, and everybody else in the Detroit Police Department that's helped with setting this up today. When an occasion like this occurs, we have a tendency to reminisce. And I have to tell you, over the past couple weeks, Ike's been reminiscing. You know what a storyteller Ike is. You know, true story. We all know and we've heard them. The family's heard them multiple times, but I have to tell you that he's remembered in the past few weeks stories that I've never heard before. So I'm sure you're going to hear some of those today. Because who else has experience in the military, the police department, and the city and at the school? I'm always amazed when his phone rings or he gets an email that he brings home to show me, that people who haven't been in touch with him for years call him, text him, and ask for advice, or just want to get in touch with him to find out how he's doing. It really always amazes me, because I never had that experience being budget director. It's one of the things about him that make my life with Ike so interesting and entertaining. Ike's mantra has always been, "It's a wonderful life." He used to close some of his motivational speaking engagements by actually singing the song, "It's a Wonderful World." His energy, his hard work, creativity, eternal optimism, enthusiasm, and love of family are inspiring. And although we've tried to get him to slow down, we know that's not possible. The family understands that he's doing what he loves, and it makes him the happiest. And we're happy for him because it gives him satisfaction and purpose. And today, Jeff, Kim, Zoe, and I, and Jason, whoops, almost forgot you there, Jeff, we'll get to see 2 street signs bearing his name and bookmarking the one block in the city that he loves that carries so many memories for him. I know that when we make our way into Greektown from now on, we will no longer be driving down Lafayette, that we're going to be driving down Gratiot and turning left and pausing and looking up. It truly is a very sweet and special day, so over by the street sign, once it's been unveiled, we have some mini cupcakes and some candy, compliments of my granddaughter. This was her suggestion. So please partake of them after the unveiling. And now we have a special surprise speaker today that Grandpa doesn't know anything about. This young lady puts a gleam in his eye, puts a smile on his face, and holds his heart in her hands because he'll do anything for her. So, without further ado, and here's some Kleenex for you, Grandpa, Miss Zoe McKinnon.
Hi, my name is Zoe. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ike McKinnon's granddaughter. I'm 8 years old, and I love my grandpa. He's nice and smells like mints. He's always meant so much to me, and he served the world in so many different ways. For example, he was a mechanic in the Air Force, police officer and the chief of police, deputy mayor, and now he's a college professor. I always knew so much about my grandpa, but when he retired from deputy mayor and got interviewed on TV, it showed me a whole new side of him, from protecting the streets to almost being killed only because of the color of his skin. He has changed and saved so many people's lives and made so many marks on the world. Today he has made another. Congratulations, Grampy.
I need this stool too. Congratulations, Zoe, that was awesome. We have so many honored guests here today. Among them, the 25th president of the University of Detroit Mercy, the largest Catholic university in Michigan. Please welcome Dr. Antoine Garibaldi.
Thank you very much, Donna. Mayor Duggan, Council President Jones, Pat, it's a pleasure to be here this morning to represent Ike's other love, and that is University of Detroit Mercy. As you've heard already, Ike has a very distinguished history with the university, both as a student, as a faculty member today, and also as someone who has worked around the university for a number of years. He also straddles the line of our two founders, the Sisters of Mercy and also the Jesuits, some of whom are represented here today over in the corner, including our superior of the rector of the Jesuit community at University of Detroit Mercy, Father Gilbert Sangera. Ike has a Bachelor of Arts degree in history from Mercy College, and he has a Master of Arts degree from University of Detroit. And in that time, Ike has also had the opportunity to not just teach at University of Detroit Mercy over these last several years after receiving his PhD, but he also taught as an adjunct professor at Mercy College in 1971, which predates his Bachelor of Arts degree in history, which tells you a little bit about how active of a guy Ike has been, not just for the university, but also for the community. We are really very, very pleased to be able to express our appreciation to Ike for all of the wonderful things he has done for the city. Many people know what he has been to the city because of his work in law enforcement, but he has also been a great leader at the university too. In addition to teaching courses today in our education department, Ike has been helping me out when he is not traveling the world with some of our neighborhood development and our government affairs work. But because he has such a rich history at the university, you can see him just about everywhere. And that's one of the reasons why people like the dean of his college is here today, several faculty members, the rooting squad over here to the right. Not everybody can bring out the men's basketball coach, but I can, because in between many of his responsibilities, he will slip over to see a game for a little while, and then he'll get back to work. But that's one of the reasons why Ike really means so very much to us. In addition to being the chief of police of the city of Detroit, Ike also had the job as the director of public safety at the University of Detroit Mercy. So I have a really difficult time when I see him, because I'm not sure whether or not I should call him chief, doctor, deputy mayor, or chief of University of Detroit Mercy. He straddles all those lines, and he does it very, very well. So Ike, on behalf of University of Detroit Mercy and all of the alumni from the university, we congratulate you on receiving this very, very special honor.
Thank you, Dr. Garibaldi. You know, Ike has always been about service, so in honor of his many years of service, we invite now a woman elected to serve the citizens of Detroit both in 2005 and again in 2010, the president of the City Council, Brenda Jones.
Thank you, and good morning still to everyone. Today is really a special day for me to know that this day has come true, to have the revealing of the secondary street name for Ike McKinnon. When Ike told me that he was going to retire again, I just could not believe it, because how many times has he retired and came back to the city? And so I said, Ike, we have to honor you with a secondary street name. And so I asked him, where would you like for that street naming to be? And so he said, well, I started my career at 1300 Bobian. And so, where are we? Right here back at 1300 Bobian. And I, we were on recess, and Ike like really threatened me and said, you have to be here. You have to be here. So I'm here, Ike. I'm here. And so I'm going to just ask you all to bear with me because it is so important, and many things have been said about Ike, but in this resolution, it's just so many things that I just want everyone to hear. And so this is a resolution sponsored by myself on behalf of the entire City Council. Whereas the Detroit City Council has received a request to assign a secondary street name to Isaiah Ike McKinnon to be located at the intersection of Bobian and Macomb. And whereas 1300 Bobian is historically significant, being an Albert Kahn designed structure in Detroit's Greektown neighborhood that served as the Detroit Police Department headquarters from 1923 until 2013. And whereas Isaiah Ike McKinnon has most notably served the city of Detroit as chief of police from January 1994 to July 1998 under Mayor Dennis Archer, in which he served as the chief executive officer of a 4,700-person staff, responsible for providing safe, cost-effective, professional, community-based police services to the residents, businesses, and visitors of the city of Detroit, a time period in which he established special police units and task force that reduced violent crimes in the city for 4 consecutive years and reaffirmed community and law enforcement trust in the leadership of a department that had been overcome by political and criminal scandal. And whereas Isaiah Ike McKinnon, after being served as a tenured associate professor of liberal arts and education at the University of Detroit Mercy, where he taught graduate and undergraduate courses in education and teacher development, specifically classes in school and society, society and education, legal foundations of American education, and philosophy of education, was appointed to the position of Deputy Mayor of the City of Detroit in 2014 by Mayor Mike Duggan. And whereas Isaiah Ike McKinnon has served as the CEO of the McKinnon Group, which specialized in training, motivational speaking, professional consulting, and expert witness testimony, of which specific consulting and training areas include law enforcement administration and management, departmental operations, customer service, ethics, and cultural diversity standards, including the importance of respect. And whereas Isaiah Ike McKinnon has been tutored as a prolific author, having written titles such as Stand Tall, 2001, and The Line of Duty, 2003, North Between the Houses, 2005, and several articles and publications around the nation on topics ranging from nursing care of victims and family violence to FBI law enforcement guides to child pornography. And whereas the City Council finds that there are reasonable grounds for such a request, whereas Isaiah Ike McKinnon sits on several professional and civic boards as a contributing member of this community, including the International Association of Chief of Police, Catholic Charities USA, governing boards of Catholic Charities of Southeast Michigan, the March of Dimes, Detroit Crime Commission, Detroit Zoological Society, Detroit Building Authority, Detroit Wayne Stadium Authority, Great Lakes Water Authority, and Detroit Financial Review Committee. And whereas Isaiah Ike McKinnon has received numerous awards, including the Communicator of the Year Award, Sales and Marketing Executives of Detroit, NAACP Image Award, University of Michigan for Dedication to Community, Catholic Youth Organization Award for Positive Influence on Community, Camano's Cancer Institute Detroit Award, Sporting for Children Families, a Golden Award, Michigan State Senate recognition for touching the lives of countless people. Phoenix Award, Father Gabriel Richard Historical Society, Detroit, Michigan, and Emmy Award for WDIV TV program, Stay Safe with Ike. And now therefore be it resolved that the Detroit City Council finds the above-mentioned individual in the proposed location meets the criteria for secondary street naming of streets in accordance with Article 7, Section 50-731 through Section 50-750 of the 1984 Detroit City Code. Be it further resolved that Bobian at Macomb Avenue be assigned the secondary street name Isaiah Ike McKinnon in celebration of his noteworthy achievement. And also, and you probably have a Spirit of Detroit award, a pin, but I'm gonna pin you again because Ike truly is one that loves the city, that carries the spirit of Detroit around in his heart every day. There's not one day I can call Ike and talk about what can be done about the city and what's happening in the city that he does not share with me a great idea. And so I say to you, you have a great person over there with you. I say to you, you have a great partner, and to all of the family, you have a great family member. I love this man. And Mayor, we miss him. We miss him as Deputy Chief. So I want to just take this opportunity to pin you again. And I want to thank the family for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Mayor Duggan, also for making this possible, and thank my staff. Jasmine Bobs has worked extremely hard behind the doors, making sure everything has taken place. So thank everyone for being here. This truly is, the rain was coming down, but guess what? The rain said, let me get back up there, because this is a great celebration. So Ike, let me present to you the resolution from the city of Detroit, and know that we love you and we appreciate you, and to know you is to love you.
Thank you so much. Wow, not many people get a pin, but you got repinned. To really underline how momentous this occasion is, please welcome the 75th mayor of the great city of Detroit, Mike Duggan.
All right. Thank you, Lila. I asked Council President Jones what I had to do to get a pin, and she said, as soon as you retire, I'll give you one. I'm hoping that won't be anytime soon. There are a lot of great speakers here, but I want to start, but let's give another hand to the best speaker we've had. Zoe, you are fabulous. So Zoe, at your grandpa's retirement, the highlight of the whole retirement night was the video that you cut in California. But you topped it this time, being here in person. So it's great to get a chance to see you. Pat and Ike have been friends of mine for more than 30 years, and I'm going to leave the reminiscing to Ike, but I just mentioned a couple things to give you a sense of the impact that he has meant. When he was a young officer, he was assigned to the Executive Protection Unit of Mayor Jerry Kavanaugh early on in his career. And when I was fortunate enough that he accepted the job of deputy mayor, he said, I want the office all the way down at the other end of the hall from where I was sitting. And I said, I thought we were friends. Why do you want to be down there? And he said, when I started off, that was the mayor's office down there. And I was the junior officer standing in the back of the room when Mayor Kavanaugh sat there. And 50 years later, Ike McKinnon ended his career sitting in the executive office where he had once been the deputy. Think about what that's like as a career trajectory, but it's no less impressive than what happened here. We've seen the movie that's just come out. The time that Ike McKinnon joined the police force, this city was desperately in need of a change in its relationship to his police department. And the discrimination that he went through as an African American officer joining the force in the 1960s. And he rose through the ranks to become the police chief in this building. And so when Council President Jones took the initiative, I thought there could be no better way to commemorate 50 years of public service than for this street to forever be known as Isaiah Ike McKinnon Road. Ike, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I asked Ike 20, 30 years from now, you're walking down this street, somebody's next to you and says, Ike McKinnon, who was that? And he hopes that you'll say, he was a good cop, but a great guy. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, a good cop, but a great guy, Ike McKinnon.
Eric. So now, it all started here. You can't hear me, okay? How's that? It all started here. I made a decision in 1957 to become a Detroit police officer. You all know the reason why. But in 1961, I joined the United States Air Force and served 3 years, 11 months, and 1 day, but they say who's counting. The last year was spent in Vietnam. And 6 months into my tour, I wrote a letter to then Commissioner Ray Girardin. And I said, I want to be a Detroit police officer. And he wrote me back a nice letter that says, once you're discharged, if it's honorable, come down to 1300 Beaubien, room 205, and sign up to be a police officer. Well, I was discharged in June of 1965. And the next day, I came down to this building, walked up to room 205, and there was a gentleman standing by the door, and I said, excuse me, I want to become a police officer. And this man's name was Avery Jackson. And he said, oh, you want to become a police officer, huh? He said, what's your name? I said, Ike McKinnon. He said, where'd you go to school? I said, Cass Tech. And he loudly, thank you. Us CT people, we're like those Michigan people. We yell when somebody's, anyway, he loudly yelled, this young man, McKinnon, wants to become a Detroit police officer. And everybody stopped because the office was packed with people. And then he said, tell me more about yourself. I said, well, I just got back from Vietnam. I was in the Air Force. And he just got back from Vietnam serving his country. What a young man to become a police officer. And I said, okay. At that point, he introduced me to Commander Quaid, who was in charge of recruiting. And he says, Commander, I want you to meet this young man who just got back from Vietnam. He graduated from Cass Tech. Well, your son went to school. He's going to become a great police officer. And Commander Quaid says, wow, you look like in great shape. I said, well, I won the military Olympics twice. Oh, you're going to be great for this department because you can catch all the crooks. That's really true. So I signed up, and that was the beginning of all those years in law enforcement. And throughout that time, there were a number of significant emotional events that touched my life. One of them was a guy by the name of Bill Shine, who's over here with sunglasses. And Bill and I worked together in 1968 in Precinct Support Unit. And I didn't know that Bill was watching what I did. But Bill was transferred to be in charge of the executive protection staff of Mayor Kavanaugh. And at some point, he called me. I'll never forget these calls. He says, Ike, I want to tell you something that's going to change your life forever. I didn't know what he meant. He said, I'm going to bring you down to the executive protection staff of Mayor Kavanaugh. It did. It absolutely changed my life forever. Because one Saturday evening, I was with Mayor Kavanaugh, and he said to me, Ike, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? I said, well, Mr. Mayor, I might retire as a sergeant or something like this. He said, no, Ike, the world is changing. The world is changing. You've got to change. He said, look at Cleveland, Ohio. At that time, Mayor Carl Stokes was the first African-American mayor of a large city. He said, Ike, you could become police chief of the state of Detroit at some point. I wanted to say, this man's crazy, you know. But to think about it, he said, go to college. Get an education. Education is the way of the future. And so that Monday I went and signed up, and 12 years later I was Dr. McKinnon. And it was something to think about that in terms of the importance of education, not only on the police department, but also in life. And I recall specifically talking to so many young people about the importance of education and how it impacted my life. And so it went on, and I enjoyed that life. And so in 1993, I received this call from this man by the name of Dennis Archer. It's like there's, I understand from a number of people who are friends of yours that you're the man I should talk to because I'm contemplating running for mayor. I said, okay. Well, he said, come in, do you have 30 minutes to meet with us? Okay, I'll do that. Well, that 30-minute conversation turned to 3 hours. And of course, Dennis was elected to be mayor. And he said, Ike, I want you to be my chief of police. Well, God, I mean, this is Kavanaugh years before saying this. I didn't believe this. It happened. And I'm thinking about the fact that here's Bill Shine, who was Kavanaugh, who had this profound impact upon my life. And then one day I'm at the Renaissance Center and Nelson Mandela's there. And we had to protect him, and he's walking, and I said, Mr. Mandela, can I speak with you? And he said, young man, and you think of Nelson Mandela's accent. He said, why did you want to become a police officer? And I told him. He said, that is an incredible story, and you must continue to tell that story because of the impact it will have on people. And I've told this over and over, and I won't repeat it now, but he said, it's important to do that. And he told me about his life. He says, continue to do that because I like you. When Nelson Mandela said that, I said, my God, this is incredible. Nelson Mandela is saying that he likes me. 6 months later, Jeffrey and I had breakfast with Bishop Tutu. And Bishop Tutu said exactly the same thing. So we learned from this. It was important that people are watching you and you're watching people and you're learning from them. And so it was about 3.5 years ago that Pat receives this phone call, and she says to me as she covers the mic, it's Mike Duggan. And I said, oh, okay. And so Pat's going, yes, okay, we'll see you there. I said, what's that? Well, Mike wants to have lunch with me, but he said, bring you along. This is really true. Well, we had this great lunch in Mario's. In the midst of it, Mike said, Ike, listen, I'm thinking about running for mayor. I said, I'll support you. That was it. Well, we ran a great campaign and we won. Then I was thinking about going back to the university, enjoying myself teaching, and Mike called me into a campaign office. He said, Ike, I'd like for you to be my deputy mayor. I went, oh my God, this is absolutely incredible. Joining the police department, becoming police chief and deputy mayor. But he said to me, he said, I want you to be my voice. I want you to speak for me and say all those things to the community because the people in Detroit love you. And I said, okay. And it was a wonderful tour for me because of the fact that I could speak for the mayor and say so many things. And we became this team of people who shared so many ideas about what we wanted to do. And that was very, very, very important for us. And so, a year ago, I said, okay, Mr. Mayor, that's it. I'm going back to the university. And he said to me, he said, 6 months, I'll have you back. And I said, no way, Mr. Mayor. I said, I'm gone. So I went to the university, and my dean and my chair of our department, where you guys at? Raise your hands over there. They're talking to me, and they said, Ike, there's something that we want to do that we feel that you can do because the people of Detroit love you. I think they had talked to the mayor at this time, you know. They said, we want to recruit more young men of color into education because we know that there are more young men of color in the criminal justice system than there are in universities. He said, so we want you to be our spokesperson for that. And I said, my God, this is exactly what I'm thinking. So, called Dr. Garibaldi, And I said, Dr. Garibaldi, this is what we're going to do with the deans and the chair's approval. And Dr. Garibaldi said, Ike, let me show you something. He went to his desk and he brought out all these articles he had written on the lack of minorities in the field of education. He said, like, we're going to do this. I thought, oh my God, this is wonderful. So this has been a labor of love for me. Number one, starting out in the military. Number two, as a law enforcement officer. But number three, now back as a person in the field of education, but we can impact so much of our society. We think about the things that our young people are doing and how we as adults, responsible adults, can impact their lives. And so, this day is certainly a special day for me, but it's a special day for all of you. And I thank you all for coming here to celebrate this day with me. And this young lady, Taylor, she's resigned from the city, and she's going to Princeton to, she's one of those young people in the mayor's office who come to me and she said, Dr. McKinnon, I seek your counsel. And it's really interesting because another young lady, Liz back there, was one of my students, what is it, 20 years ago? 20 years ago. They stay in contact, as Pat said. I mean, it's constant. And so it's important to have that kind of relationship with students who want to be an active part of your life, but also a part of the community. The council president said that there are things that I try and do, but she does so much. And when you talk to her about this city, it's a labor of love for her, the same as with the mayor. I mean, you think about what he has done for our city, and as we continue to make these tremendous changes for Detroit and for people moving back into the city. And Dr. Garibaldi, I mean, we thought, not only, see, I've got to speak from the field of the education department, but he's got this big university to handle. But he's doing all these things too. And finally, my wife, who's put up with me for a number of years. But I had a trump card. Oh, sorry, not a trump card. Well, we all screw up every so often anyway. When Pat and I were dating, this young lady, her name was Belinda Solomon, she called me one day and she says, do you remember me? I think I was a lieutenant. She said, do you remember me? I said, yes, Belinda, I remember you well. And in 1966, Sergeant Harry Washington and I saw this fire in this house, and we went into the house and saved her life and saved her mother's life, and 2 siblings passed. And so she said, I want to thank you for saving my life, saving my mother's life. She said, but even more than that, she said, I'm getting married Saturday, and I would like for you to walk me down the aisle. And my date was Pat. So I impressed the hell out of her. She said, you saved these people's lives and they invited you to their wedding. This was the start of these 40-some years. But I really thank you all. And I want to raise my nephews. Who are you? Raise your hands. And my sister. And my nieces. They're there. My sons, Jeffrey and Jason. You see, they get their looks from their mom. And the faculty, staff from the University of Detroit Mercy. All of you. And my lovely daughter-in-law, Kimberly. Yay. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you.
I just want to say, you pointed some people out, but we're all here because we all love Ike McKinnon, just so you know.